going on? It's Jamar here, Vegas Sense. I'm back here with another Scentual Obsessions video. This one is going to be just basically like a first impressions video of a few fragrances that I was sent basically in sample form with a purchase that I actually just recently made from Scentual Obsessions. So I ordered 2 full bottles. It was Andy Warhol and Chanel's Allure Homme. And Kevin also included 5 other samples within that purchase. All right, and so basically what he included was he gave me their interpretation of Bond Number 9's Coney Island, Tom Ford's Ombre Leather, Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille, Antonio Visconti's Sea Island, and he also sent me another original fragrance, I guess you could say. Technically not an original, because it's like a blend of like several different fragrances, but he called it Mystery. All right, so just starting off here, the Bond Number 9 Coney Island. So I've got that one sprayed on my fist here. This one is a very different take on a aquatic. It has notes in the top like melon and lime. It also has tequila in the top notes as well, guava. But then also in the mid, it has some notes like caramel, cinnamon, and dark chocolate. Now, this has been dried down on my hand here for probably about 20 minutes or so. No note I would say really sticks out. So it's definitely not something that becomes heavy or cloying or anything like that. It definitely, to my nose, it just kind of stays sort of fresh and musky to my nose. It has in the base, it has vanilla in it as well. This is a really interesting take on an aquatic. I need to wear this a few more times to really give my full opinion on it. But it's really a nice scent, I would say. So yeah, he sent me that one. He sent me Ombre Leather. So I've been looking for Ombre Leather itself. I've been looking to possibly purchase that. And then I've also been looking for interpretations or clones of it. So I was really happy to see that he sent me Ombre Leather as a sample, because I instantly got excited, like, oh, okay, like I'm really curious to know how close his version is, of Ombre Leather to the original. And when you first spray this on, I would say it's definitely underwhelming, and only in the sense that this fragrance is extremely synthetic, and I would say it has like a really strong chemical smell to it. Doesn't really smell like Ombre Leather at all when you first spray it on. And so for, I would say, the first maybe 5 to maybe 10 minutes or so of the fragrance, you're like, wow, like this isn't really Ombre Leather. But I would say after about maybe 15 minutes or so, 15-20 minutes, this definitely is Ombre Leather. It absolutely is. This is definitely the dry down of Ombre Leather. I would say it still is a bit more synthetic than what Ombre Leather smells like, as far as the OG version goes, but this, I would say, has a little bit better projection, and It could be because of the more synthetic smell, but I would say overall, if I were to compare this to the smell of ombre leather, I would say it's about 95% close. So it's worth a purchase if you're wanting ombre leather, but you're not wanting to spend the type of money that ombre leather costs. And I mean, I'll do a quick little search right now just to see, how much ombre leather costs retail. And yeah, I mean, it goes for 100 mil. It looks like it goes for 180. So that's from Macy's. It goes for 180. It looks like you can get it from Fragrance Net for 130. But I mean, that's super high end. That's super high end. And I believe Ombre Leather is not a part of the private blend collection from Tom Ford. So this is still technically like a designer tier fragrance that is retailing for $180. That's way too much in my opinion, and I think that this version of it, which is what, $30 for 60 mils, this does a absolutely amazing job at recreating the fragrance. The leather in this scent is top notch, I would say. But again, you have to let this dry down and sort of settle down for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then at that point, that's when it's right there with Ombre Leather. All right. So the next one is Tobacco Vanille. So anybody that has seen my post, and especially in the Alexandria Fragrances group, and anybody that just knows my taste when it comes to fragrances knows that when I smelled Alexandria Fragrances Sweet Smoke, which was their interpretation of Tobacco Vanille, I didn't like that at all. I blind bought it, and as soon as I sprayed it, it was like I regretted making that purchase. Thankfully, I was able to sell it right away as well to somebody else within the Alexandria Fragrances group. But the smell that I got from the Alexandria version was just this really strong sort of, like, I really didn't get too much vanilla from it. That was the thing. Like, I got like this really strong sort of red hot tamales, big red type of like cinnamon smell to it. And it was really loud, it was strong, it was just in my face, and it was like headache inducing. It really was. So I didn't like that about that interpretation of it. This one right here though, this goes more along the lines of what I was expecting that fragrance to smell like. This is just nothing but, I would say, just really smooth vanilla, sweet tobacco, and you do get some spice in it. It is still there in this one, but the spice is like way in the background. Like you barely smell it. And I would say it's really something that you really have to dig in and really try to find to really smell it. Like this, the spices in this are really, really subdued. And I think this is a much, much more wearable version of that particular fragrance. Now, I do need to try to get my hands on a sample of the original Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille to see how that one smells. Hopefully it smells pretty much just like this, because then that would change my view of the fragrance. But based on the Alexandria version, I was pretty much like, yeah, Tobacco Vanille, it's not for me. But this version of it, I could actually see myself wearing this fragrance. Like I really could. I would only wear this probably in like the dead of winter, and which would pretty much mean I can only maybe wear this for a couple of weeks out here in Vegas because it really doesn't get that cold. But I would say like maybe on like a 40-degree day or lower, this would be a perfect fragrance to wear, and it would really smell good. This smells like it has like really good sillage, good projection, and good longevity as well. So I definitely like this a lot. All right. Next one is Antonio Visconti, Sea Island, and this one, this is definitely a different type of fragrance. This one, you get seaweed in this, in the top notes and also in the base. So the seaweed is definitely something that is present, I would say, throughout the whole fragrance. It does also have a really strong sort of watery, aquatic type of feel to it as well. So this to me is a really good representation of like being on like a boat somewhere, maybe on like a lake or something like that, and you've got like all of this sort of seaweed or moss that's kind of like starting to grow on the dock, you know, from the dock just being there for years and having this water splash up against it. That's the vibe that I get from this. And then it has rosemary in it as well, which sort of gives it sort of like this herbal type of smell. This one, I would say, is a fragrance that you would only probably want to wear this in like the, you know, really hot summer days, because I think any other time of the year this could probably come off of your skin not so well. This is definitely, it's a fresh, I would say, sort of herbal type of you know, aquatic type of scent, and it's very unique. It's probably the most unique aquatic scent that I've ever smelled. I do also think that this comes off as being a bit more mature. Although, I mean, I would say that I would still wear this. I would still definitely wear this. I don't know if I would buy a full bottle of this fragrance, but I would absolutely wear it. All right. So that's Sea Island. And then the last one is the mystery fragrance. And pretty much, you know, he didn't tell me what this fragrance was or what it was blended with. He just said, hey, I'm gonna send you this. Let me know what you think of it. So when I first sprayed this on, I was like, oh, okay, this is Virgin Island water mixed with something, obviously. And when I first sprayed it on, that's what I got. You get that nice lime opening from the Virgin Island water. And then I would say after maybe a couple of minutes, it started to turn like really spicy. And it started to confuse me, honestly, because I didn't really know what fragrance this spice was coming from. So basically, long story short, this fragrance is Lime in the Sky, which is another sort of blend fragrance from Scentual Obsessions, and that fragrance is Virgin Island water and Ariana Grande Cloud, which is basically like Baccarat Rouge 540. So it's that Lime in the Sky mixed with Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. This fragrance is super unique, but it really smells good. And what I like about this fragrance is I didn't really like the Tom Ford Lost Cherry, or at least the interpretation from Alexandria fragrances that I smelled. I don't think that's anything against Alexandria fragrances. I just thought that that lost cherry scent, in my opinion, it just smelled feminine to me. Like, I didn't really feel comfortable wearing it. A lot of other people love it. A lot of people swear by it, but I just didn't feel comfortable wearing that particular fragrance. It smelled feminine to me, like I said. And then I felt the same way with Scentual Obsessions Lime in the Sky. I love Virgin Island water, but I'm not the hugest fan of like that Baccarat Rouge 540 type of smell. To me, it still leans a bit more feminine than what I'm comfortable with wearing. So it's kind of ironic that this fragrance would have those two sort of mixed together, and it makes for a really nice combination. And it doesn't smell feminine at all to me, which is pretty surprising, because even Virgin Island water isn't necessarily the most masculine smelling fragrance, like at all. So I guess you could say all of these fragrances sort of have like a feminine appeal to them, but this fragrance, I like it. And I do think that it is full bottle worthy. I absolutely do. So I look forward to you releasing this one, Kevin, for sure, because this one is pretty good. I'll have to see how it performs, but it really smells pretty good. All right. So I recommend everyone check out all of these fragrances. Again, you can check them out on ScentualObsessionsPerfume.com. And if you use my discount code Vegas5, you get 5% off any purchase above $25. All right. So check all of these fragrances out, including the ones that I bought again, which are Andy Warhol and Chanel Allure Homme. Check them out. It's Jamar here, Vegas Scents. I'll see y'all in the next video.